Episode 23 of the Roommates Podcast is now underway.
And we have a special guest. It's our equipment manager, Eli. Eli played O-line with us, and then probably can see the scar, maybe. I don't know. What did you tear?
I tore my MCL and my PCL because you decided to land on it.
I didn't land. I was out.
Someone
there.
Someone big decided to land on my leg.
Yeah. So yeah, Eli's our equipment manager, one of them. So he kept begging me to be on the show. I'm just kidding.
That's crazy. you wanted me on before snacks.
I did, but it's snacks. All right, let's get into it.
I'll let you talk about NHL, Will, because I don't watch hockey.
We need to get you into hockey.
It's not an Oklahoman thing.
No. NHL news: the Arizona Coyotes, they are moving to Salt Lake City. It was kind of reported, like either before a practice or a game, that the president told the team that they were moving, and a lot of them are upset about it, and a lot of families are upset about it because they don't want to go to Salt Lake City.
Well, I know that the Arizona team, the Coyotes, they've been there for a while. They've been in Arizona, I think, since the start, even when like people were moving, like teams were moving around, like they stayed there and loyal to them. So it's kind of crazy how they just decide, I'm just gonna up and leave.
Yeah. I don't know. Like my thought, like everybody knew it was gonna be Salt Lake City getting the new team, but everyone thought it was gonna be through expansion. So I think now that Arizona's leaving, it opens the possibility of Omaha getting the expansion team, because that was one that they're really considering. But who knows for now. Now on to Josiah and be quit watching film, gosh darn it.
I was just waiting for y'all to finish about NHL.
NBA time, Josiah.
NBA. The Lakers won the first play-in game. The next one is going on tonight. They won the first one. Now they play Sacramento, who beat the Warriors for the 8th seed. English, Josiah. The Lakers won the game for the 7th seed, so they will play the Nuggets in the first round of the playoffs. The loser of that game, being the Pelicans, now go on to play the Kings, who beat the Warriors in the second play-in game in the Western Conference, to see who gets the 8th seed. So that kind of sets up the matchups for right now at this. Thunder versus either the Pelicans or the Kings. We've got Nuggets, Lakers, Timberwolves, Suns, Clippers, Mavericks. The East is still up in the air as they have their play-in games tonight. As we're recording this, the Heat and 76ers are playing at the moment. And then later tonight, we will get Hawks versus Bulls. Heat 76ers, whoever wins that game will get the auto bid into the 7th seed and will have to play the Knicks in the first round. The loser will then have to play the winner of the Hawks versus Bulls game for the 8th seed.
Come on, boys.
That's kind of the way to... But that would mean in your Eastern Conference, you've got your Celtics as your 1 seed, your Knicks as your 2 seed. We'll find out who they're playing after. We'll be able to find out who the Knicks are playing tonight, and we'll have a better picture of who the Celtics will end up playing after tonight as well. Bucks, Pacers, Cavaliers, Magic are kind of the teams that are set in stone for their matchups at the moment.
Josiah, I have to ask you, who do you have winning the Heat versus 76ers?
I think it's a toss-up. Right now, I think it kind of all depends on who plays better between Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid. Because with the Heat, Bam Adebayo and Joel Embiid will go at it, and Jimmy Butler is probably going to be guarding Tyrese Maxey for a majority of the game. So it'll be a battle of which stars play better.
And then what about the Hawks versus the Bulls?
I don't even care to talk about it. Neither of those teams deserve a spot in the playoffs because they're both about 10 games under 500. They were just the best of the worst in the Eastern Conference. But I think it's all going to come down to, can Trae Young and DeJounte Murray coexist in a playoff scenario, because they haven't been able to coexist all regular season. So
obviously my Portland Trailblazers did not make it. Sad to say. We kind of suck. But your Thunder made it.
Yeah, my Thunder are 1 seed. The youngest team to win 55 games in NBA history, or 55 plus. We won 57, I believe.
They will not make it past the first round.
Yes. I think we can beat the Pelicans in Sacramento in a 7-game series. Now, when we go into having to play Clippers Mavericks, I think it's going to be a little bit closer because of the playoff experience that the Clippers have if they beat the Mavericks. but there's also the playoff experience that the Mavericks have in Kyrie and Luka. So I think that'll be a tougher test, but I think the Thunder are playing at a level that's not matched by anyone other than realistically like the Celtics, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, and the Knicks. Don't think there's anyone else playing at the same level as we are. And the team is a whole different team whenever we have Chet playing. Chet really, I think I heard Barkley say it, or one of the NBA TNT guys said it, that that Chet is quite literally unlocked the offense for the Thunder. So it's a different game whenever Chet's playing.
Hey, by the way, it's a 1-point game between the Heat and the 76ers.
That's why I said it's a toss-up. Yeah, I know it's going to be close. It's going to come down to which star plays better.
He just took the lead.
Damn it, Tyler Hero.
They're both good teams. The 76ers would be seated above the Cavs if Joel had never got hurt. And kind of talking about Joel, if Joel hadn't gotten hurt, then all of the awards that we would talk, that all of our award predictions would be different, or at least my MVP prediction would be different, because it'd be Joel Embiid's award to lose if he had stayed healthy the entire season, since he was playing the highest level of basketball of anyone in the last 20 years. So, with that being said, award predictions. I've got all mine listed out. You guys don't have yours, but
shut up, man. We don't watch NBA for a living.
I can read mine off. I don't watch it for a living either. I just watch the Thunder. For my MVP prediction, I'm thinking SGA. He took a team that has got a younger average age than a majority of the college teams that were in the NCAA tournament and made them a 57-win team, and is averaging 36-6 and 2 steals. He's leading the league in steals per game on average.
I got Luka. Just overall, he's a better player than SGA.
Yeah, I think the thing with Luka, with me, I think Luka does deserve it just as much as SGA. I think he is just as valid of a candidate. But if you take Luka out of the Mavs, they're still a 6 seed. You take SGA off the Thunder, they're a 20-win team that doesn't make the playoffs. Because if you take Luka off of the Mavs, you still have Kyrie, Derek Lively, like you still have all of them. You take SGA out of the Thunder and you don't have that leader anymore. It's left to guys like J-Dub, who are in their 3rd year in the league, and Chet, who is technically a rookie despite missing his first year due to injury. So then you leave the entire team and those guys, and they don't have the experience that Shea has to lead them like Shea has this year. Rookie of the Year, kind of talking about how Chet missed his first year, so he's technically eligible for Rookie of the Year. If he was a rookie last year, he could have won it, but this year it's going to Victor Wembanyama. I don't think there's anybody who argues that. Wemby is a 7'4" freak athlete who is leading the NBA in blocks at the moment and is averaging stupid numbers. He's had a better rookie season than LeBron while on a minutes restriction when LeBron was a rookie, and we thought LeBron's rookie season was absurd. So,
you want to know what's kind of crazy about Wembanyama?
Yeah,
I believe he's 19 years
Yep.
old. He's the same age as both of you guys.
Yeah, he's not even 20 yet.
He's not even 20 yet, and is in the NBA. Probably just because of his height, but think about it.
He was genetically modified in a lab in France and made to dominate the sport of basketball.
So he's the real life Frankenstein.
He's 7'4", can handle like a guard, can shoot like a guard, and is one of the best rim protectors in the league, as well as one of the just best overall big man in the league. So,
oh yeah, all the way. By the way, it's 76 or 96, tight game.
That's gonna be a good one. And then this is not the order they'll be announced. It'll be MVP last, but the most improved player, in my opinion, is Kobe White of the Chicago Bulls. I know we were talking about, I was talking about how bad the Bulls were this year, but I think in my opinion, they've got the favorite for most improved, and they've got one of the favorites for Clutch Player of the Year, who we'll talk about my prediction next. But I think Kobe White is made leaps and bounds. He went from being barely a double-digit points per game scorer to being in the 20s with 8 assists now, and being the guy or the primary ball handler on a Bulls team that hasn't had that in the last 5 years. Kind of ever since Thibodeau left, they haven't really had a guy they could trust to handle the ball. Caruso did it for a little bit in the last 2 years, but Caruso's more of a defensive guy. He's a 3-and-D guard. He's not going to be your primary ball handler, and Kobe White finally stepped into the role that they thought he was going to step into after drafting him 5th overall a few years back. So, in my opinion, that's the most improved player. Clutch player of the year, like I just mentioned, the Bulls do have a favorite in that being DeMar DeRozan. I personally think it'll go to either Dame or Steph Curry because they both were on a different level of clutch when it came down to points in the fourth quarter in close games, game-winning shots. I think one of a sleeper, and it may seem a little biased, is SGA just because the amount of late-game buckets he made to win games for the Thunder. But I still think it'll go to Dame or Curry is my guess. One of the two. Because they just both have been game enders for their team. They go out and they win games down the stretch for their teams. Coach of the year, I have Mark Daigneault of the Thunder. Like I said, youngest team in NBA.
I wonder why.
Well, like I was saying earlier, we're talking about SGA, youngest team in NBA history to have 55-plus wins. I think Ime Udoka of the Celtics it's Joe Mazzulla. Ime is in Houston. Joe Mazzulla's got a really good shot at winning it too because the Celtics won 60 games. So, like, the Celtics, I think head coach there could win it. Head coach for the Thunder could win it. I don't remember who the head coach in Minnesota is, but he's also got a good shot at winning it because they're just as young as the Thunder, average age-wise. They're a couple years older, average age-wise, but they also won 56 games. So I think those three are kind of the top three, but in my opinion, I think Mark Daigneault is going to win it, especially since he inherited a Thunder team that was so young. And we still have 30 draft picks in the next 10 years. So, Sixth Man of the Year, I think there are two names that stick out for me, Malik Monk and Emmanuel Quickley. In my opinion, for the Kings, Malik Monk is your Sixth Man of the Year.
Why not Thanasis Antetokounmpo?
Because Thanasis Antetokounmpo can't play basketball. He's just on an NBA roster because his last name is Antetokounmpo.
I disagree. I think he could be a stellar guy there.
For Sixth Man of the Year, have you looked up his stats? Malik Monk is averaging 16. Emmanuel Quickley is averaging 17, and they are both on perennial powerhouses. Emmanuel Quickley playing for the Knicks and being their sixth man, and Malik Monk is on the Kings, and he is a spark plug off the bench. I think he comes in off the bench and gives the Kings an element that there's not another team in the NBA that has that. But if you want to say Thanasis, I'm not gonna.
No, I'm just joking with you.
Yeah,
I was just make you mad.
I don't get mad about NBA takes unless they're just so god awful. And then Defensive Player of the Year, I am going to be putting my faith in Rudy Gobert. I think there's a chance, a very slim one, but knowing the NBA and how they like media attention, I think we're cutting back in because for some reason the recording device, aka my phone, decided to stop recording while I was talking about Defensive Player of the Year, despite the fact that we had already moved on from NBA and we had talked about MLB and golf. So, unfortunate. But we'll go back to it. Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. Don't think there's anything about that's going to be in debate other than maybe Wembanyama, which, depending on how much of the clip, I didn't actually watch it, but depending on how much of the clip shows up, you'll probably hear me talk about why Wemby may win it. But we'll see. Jackson Holiday made his debut in the MLB. He went down swinging, 0 for 4, but he did have an RBI ground out in that with 2 strikeouts.
He actually wears the number 7 for the Orioles. And the last person to ever wear that number was Billy Ripken, Cal Ripken Jr.'s son, who was a player in 1988. And the Ripken family actually posted on X saying, "Our family is thrilled that Jackson Holiday will be wearing Dad's 7. I don't like it just because of the historic value to it, because it's Cal Ripken. But if he is what all the hype is for him, I think it will be fine. And another reason why he is wearing it is because when his dad played for the Orioles, he was number 7. So,
yeah, when his dad was playing, his dad was wearing number 7. So
we also talked. Don't know how long the clip was. It's also like living up to the number too. That's also the main thing.
It didn't cover any of the MLB.
Oh.
literally cut off on Defensive Player of the Year for basketball.
Okay, so yeah,
That's fun.
we
That's why
something
I
we
went right
talked
back to
about.
Defensive Player of the Year, and that's all I mentioned for basketball.
Something we talked about was like living up to the number. Like you have guys who want to wear 23, like in high school, trying to live up to the number of Michael Jordan. I think Holiday will probably do the same thing for the Orioles, but we'll have to see. Golf news: Scotty Scheffler
Wins the Masters.
still waiting on the kid.
The most.
Hoping for you, Scotty.
He's not watching this.
Yeah, he's the most dominant golfer right now. Nerves don't affect him. He is just on a different level of playing. It's almost it's reminiscent of when Tiger was on his run. The distance between Tiger and the competition is kind of what we're seeing in the distance between Scheffler and the competition right now.
And just remember, Tiger did make up with the tree.
Yes.
He did.
From the accident. That's still the funniest picture in the world.
Yes.
Supposedly, I must preface supposedly for someone on this couch, Rory McIlroy may go to Live, even though he's been a big argument of it.
He's been the biggest hater of Liv since it was announced. So
How does that make you feel that supposedly he will
I
be going
don't-
to live?
I know it's not happening.
But what if it does?
If it does, then I will hate Rory more than I already do, because Rory would then be going back on his word, which would make him not, would make him a liar. He said he would never join Liv, and that he thought it was an absolute mockery of what professional golf should be, and he made all these outlandish statements. And if he was to join Liv now, it would be just. It would look so bad for him, and I honestly I wouldn't care, because I hate Rory McIlroy anyway. Despise his guts as a golfer, but
It's a strong word.
Strongly oppose.
I hate Rory McIlroy as a golfer.
Um,
As a person, I've never met him, but as a golfer, he just pisses me off. So
Other news: Jason Day was told to take off his sweater at the Masters. What was the deal with this? I honestly forgot about it. You have to
it
look
was
it up.
just the logo was something that
I know it said Masters on it.
It was a unlicensed Masters merch. Like it was
Yeah.
not Masters. With the ruling with the Masters is you aren't allowed to wear you aren't allowed to wear Masters gear, or like they have a copyright on it, and you can only sell Masters gear from Augusta National. Like that is only sold there on Masters weekend. So to have something that wasn't sold by them, it was an infringement of copyright stuff, all that fun stuff. So they told them to take it off halfway through the day. Despite it was a dope sweater. Don't get me wrong, it looks amazing. It's a nice looking sweater, but I understand where they're coming from, because there is copyright laws and all that fun stuff that they would have had to deal with.
Yeah.
So
Um.
on the same vein of Scotty having a kid, Ricky's having a second.
Congrats to him, the man in orange.
The OSU golfer himself, my grandpa's favorite golfer currently.
Yeah.
But that's because my brother and my grandpa both love OSU golfers.
As
So
you can tell, we have the Oklahoma guy here.
yeah, I don't despise Ricky. I actually like Ricky. He's a dope dude. I like watching his stuff.
Tulsa's better.
To you?
Better than you.
Oh yeah.
OU.
No, not in golf. Talking about how OU beat TU this week in softball. That's right.
Oh yeah.
At Hall of Fame Stadium.
Oh, you guys aren't number one anymore, so.
And then you dropped a certain word that changed the board.
Yeah. Well, OU softball can get me fired up. All right, FedEx Cup
aware.
top 5. Right now, Scheffler, obviously, number 1. But this is what I was talking about. We were talking about how he's leaps and bounds ahead of his competition, like what we saw with Tiger in Tiger's prime. He has scored 3,215 FedEx points this year, which you get them based on how you place in tournaments and wins count for more and things like that. Wyndham Clark, who is in second, has 1,555 points, almost 1,700 points behind Scotty Scheffler. Wyndham Clark would have to have double what he has now to even be close to what to be close to what Scotty Scheffler has. So to see that, I think, is kind of just proving how good Scotty Scheffler is right now. But you have Scheffler at 1, Wyndham Clark at 2 with the 1,500 points. Xander Schauffele has 1,442 points. Ludwig Oberg has 1,340 points at fourth, and Hideki Matsuyama has a total of 1,325 points. So the difference between fourth and fifth is 15 FedEx Cup points. Other notable names and where they're sitting in the rankings for FedEx Cup currently, Sahith Theegala is sitting at 7th. Willie Z, a.k.a. Will Zalatoris, is at 10th. Akshay Bahita, in his first full year on the Majors Tour, is sitting at 12th. Max Homa made, I think, arguably the biggest jump out of anybody this week after the Masters. After his performance, he jumped from 39th to 14th post-Masters performance. Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth are slotting in at 38th and 39th. Victor Hovland is slotting in at 85th post an injury earlier this season. And Ricky Fowler, who we talked about earlier, announcing a second child, is sitting at 115th. So two of those guys are currently sitting outside of the FedEx Cup playoffs. So if the FedEx Cup playoffs started today, Victor Hovland, Ricky Fowler would not be in the playoff tournaments. But we shall see how the rest of the season goes. Victor Hovland is getting healthy again, so we'll see how he continues to play going down the stretch, considering he's at the top of his game, or at least he was before his injury.
Also, other news with the Masters, Neil Shipley lived out all of our lifetime goals, played around with Tiger in the weekend of Augusta, only 23 years old.
Yeah, he was the amateur.
Beat Tiger.
He was the amateur that got to go to the competition this year. Every major, they bring a amateur champion out of college, and he plays one tournament. I can't remember which major it was last year, but the amateur almost won the entire tournament. He was like 3 strokes back from a win. So these guys, they're no slouches. They are the highest level of golfer that isn't professional. So they are guys who have won D1 national championships in golf typically. But that's all I've got really for golf.
Pulling
up more.
Nick Dunlap. Was it 20? Yeah, he won it. I think it was Nick Dunlap last year. I don't know what tournament, though. Oh, hey. American Express Tournament. He won it.
The AE, the American Express, that's right.
Yeah, he won the tournament.
But yeah, you're talking about, like, these guys aren't slouches. They're good golfers. Oftentimes, they're the best golfers that aren't on the Pro Tour. And this gives them a shot to play at tournaments like the Masters and show that they don't need to realistically go to, like, a DP World Tour or any of the other, like, lower levels of professional golf before they can hit the tour. It gives them kind of a jump start into getting onto the tour. So...
Also, a part that didn't make it was Will making fun of me for DoorDashing Mexican food.
Yeah.
But
all right. Anything else,
that's all I got.
Grover?
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Cool. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to Eli for joining us. Stay tuned because soon Austin Jablonski will be joining us. Ooh.
Big UNL guy.
Yeah, we're hopefully going to do something cool with that. I'm not going to spoil it.
NAIA All-American wide receiver.
Jabo no drop a passo.
Jablonski.
Stick tuned for Sunday when we go over everything that happened with the WNBA draft. Probably consider that. Will we consider that college stuff?
Yeah, because they're college
athletes.
That's what I thought. We'll talk about the upcoming NFL draft a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about draft we'll talk more about, like, final predictions now that we're closer to the actual draft.
Yeah.
And we've got to hear the smoke show of J.J. McCarthy.
Yep.
At 2, which is not happening. But Caleb Williams is going number 1, I think, the week.
Agreed. And then, so yeah, we'll talk all about that. And like always, if there's something you want us to talk about, leave a comment down below, and we're going to talk about it. Landon Washington, comment down below, talk about track like he told me earlier today. And then, you were there for that one, Josiah.
I was.
It was kind of funny.
I heard about that.
What?
He told me about it.
Oh. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see y'all Sunday. Goodbye.